when this half hour stretch is over, maybe you guys, okay, I'm sorry, hour 4 of Christian apologetics, picking up where we left off, which was right at the beginning. We didn't get very far. I left off on Rene Descartes, 1596 to 1650. These guys, none of them really lived to be very old. That's 54 years.
That's when you were thinking too much.
Maybe. I had talked about his one primary axiom that the mind is a thinking thing, and this cannot be doubted. We know that. Somebody once posed to me a question. I will in turn pose it to you. Define thinking. Thinking. We have determined that we are above the animals because we have souls, because we have this, we have that. And one of our faculties that we use is the ability of our mind, which seems to be different than our brain, if you know what I mean. The mind appears to be an entity that stands unto itself. Brain is where we store things. It's like the CPU on your computer. But the CPU only operates when it's told to do something. Who tells it to do something? In the case of the human, if we say we're the CPU, the brain, then it's the mind that tells the brain what to do. But to define what the mind is, that's a whole different matter. Then you're making some sort of a leap, faithfully, quantum leap, into that realm of, as Schaefer would say, non-reason, because you cannot give reason to it. Is the mind then connected to the soul, / spirit, because we have to define what the difference is in those two. And that is the entity that makes us like God. Because to say that God has a brain, I don't know if I'd go that far. You know, because brain is gray matter. That's inside my cranium. The mind appears to be something beyond that. My mind doesn't function in telling my heart to beat. My brain does. But my mind may be that thing that helps me determine what is good and what is evil. It's not my brain. Brain can store the information, like a CPU. So then, is the mind, the portion of us, mind, being attached to spirit, soul, that makes us like God? Now, when you think about that, I just threw something at you, some of you went, where'd that go? Because we have to figure out what is the mind. It's not the brain. Brain is the CPU. No. No, just like energy is the neurons that fire the brain to do things.
Say the mind is a terrible thing to lose.
Mind, to my understanding, and this is, nobody has clearly defined it. And I don't know that anybody can clearly define what the mind is. To me, the mind is that real entity, if you want to call it an entity, that links us to God. That's where, like I said, we know the difference between good and evil. I don't say bad and good, I say good and evil, because there is a difference between that. Or even causes us to be aware that there is a God. It's the mind, because the brain simply records information, data that comes in.
So the mind wouldn't be knowledge.
No, that's brain. Brain stores knowledge.
So would that be the mind, the knowledge that's stored? Would you compare the two kind of the same? Knowledge
no, I can't. I'm not saying you can't.
Mind.
I said I can't decipher that, because knowledge is knowledge.
And mind is mind. Both is two.
Mind is that thing that kind of seems to hang out there. That's really never been truly defined. Because it's like picking up a piece of mercury off the table. You just keep slip sliding away. Because your mind, what happens when you lose your mind? I'm speaking clinically now. If somebody goes off the deep end.
That the world
That's
defines.
what the brain.
Their knowledge is still there.
The knowledge
They
is still there.
just don't utilize, they can't
Right.
utilize it.
Or they cannot
According to what the
read
world
all
says.
it.
Right.
According to what the world standards are, because what we might call lose your mind, that person might think he's doing just fine.
You usually do. A lot of people
Well,
lose
yeah.
their
Well, I
mind.
mean,
in
if
their
you look
mind.
at like Alzheimer's, you know, I mean, they lose, they,
The ability to store it.
right, they have stored
But they-
memory, but they can't remember
have the
that
ability
they
to
just
pull
told you
back
the
up.
same thing 10 times.
So the world just call
It's like
losing
your
your mind
computer.
all time.
It's like your computer.
Constantly
You can
moving.
store information on your computer.
Mm-hmm.
You can even erase information off your computer. However, there are still fingerprints
Prints
of that
leading to it, yeah.
you can't get off.
Mhm.
That's the brain. But the mind is that thing that tells us to move and do what I want the brain to do. And that was the quandary
And
that,
that's knowledge,
that these guys
knowing
found
how
themselves.
to do it. Wouldn't you
Trying to
think?
define things, they had reached that point where they needed to
If you don't know how
define
to do it, you don't have the
what was
knowledge.
going on. And, you know, I say to you, as students of apologetics right now, if you want to get something out of it, put some time in thinking. I mean, thinking is a dying art in a lot of cases. That hurts. I don't want to think about that. No, it's easier to sit in front of the stupid tube or anything else, or we have, you know, the drug culture that drops in, drops out. Can't deal with reality, so they, you know, pop a pill or snort a whatever line. It's to me, those kind of games are inconceivable. Okay, I hurt my leg on Sunday. You give me a shot in the face. I sit there and take the camera. And they give me a prescription. For as strong of an oxycodone as they give me. I took one pill that night because I hurt. I took one pill the next morning, and that's it. The other 28 pills are still sitting in the bottle. Because I do not like to release my mind, not my brain, my mind to a substance that I can't control. I can deal with the pain because I can work my brain to handle the pain because I am educating, I am training my brain by way of my mind so that my mind controls my brain.
Okay, Thomas Aquinas.
But do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we tend to just, that's why we get in trouble. We don't analyze things. We don't sit there and look at or read or watch and then analyze and determine what's really being said or given or fed. We just accept it. I heard but we need to develop our minds. And that's what I'm trying to get you guys to look at, okay? And then we'll move on away from that. That would work with me. He claimed two proofs for the existence of God, Rene Descartes. His first one was, I am imperfect. For a lack in knowledge is an imperfection. I don't know everything, is his idea.
Said I am imperfect.
I am imperfect. I am imperfect, for a lack in knowledge is an imperfection. And I know I don't know everything. That's obvious. But if I know what is imperfect, I must have knowledge at least of the perfect. I must at least be aware that there is a perfect. But I'm not attainable to it. And I will point you to the fact that, as so many have said in the past, greater men than I, that we operate on about 5 to 7% of our brain. Brain, not mind. If we're running on 5 to 7% of our brain, and not even maxing it out, and we have no idea what our mind is, we haven't even been able to truly define what the mind is. What are the limits of the mind? Is the limits of the mind what separates us from being able to do some of the things that we only dream about, like walk through walls? Think about it. If our mind is able to ascertain and determine, is that what allowed Jesus, for example, to walk on water? Well, we know because he was God. But we're made in his image, and if we go with the premise that I just said a little bit ago, that maybe the image of us, or the image of God that we really are made in his is the mind. And we have to learn to control, engineer, structure the mind. Is that what holds us back from being able to do the things that Christ is able to do? Is that what we're going to get when we get to glory? That kind of ability. And if it is he still beyond that? That's just one step in the chain. Because never will we be God. So God's always going to know more than we are. Be more than we are. But I believe, from what I read in scriptures, that when we get to heaven, it's got to be bigger, better, beyond what we have here. We will be known as we are. We're going to know greater things than we know here. We have to. For one thing, we will have all knowledge of sin and how to avoid sin, because there will be no more desire of sin. That's the impression that I get. Because you see, here's the thing. Sin is the imperfection that entered the world through Adam's fall. Correct?
Right.
So if this heaven and this earth pass away, then that which is coming, the perfect, the new heaven and the new earth, will be free of sin, meaning therefore we will never even conceive of or perceive of sin.
Well, you said that there is no sin in God's presence.
Right.
So that's
In his holy, righteous presence.
Right.
Okay.
So we won't even care about it. I mean, it'll be a non-thing.
Exactly.
It'll be
No
gone.
reason.
Yeah.
It won't be possible
It'll
that
be
it can.
uncaused cause.
At least the uncaused cause.
I know.
It won't be possible for it to rise up again
No.
as it did with Satan.
No,
with
because we will
Lucifer.
have enough. We will have
'Cause he was
garnered the knowledge and the ability to ascertain how to prevent it.
But see,
It won't even appeal to us.
Lucifer was such a part of God's heavenly host, and he came up with that wanting to be sit on the throne instead of worshiping the throne. That type of attitude of knowledge won't show up again in the new heaven and earth.
Why? What was that knowledge based on? What was that all based in? Vanity.
Greed.
Ego. We will have lived and made the choice not to follow that.
Okay, so Satan never did have that. Okay. Wow.
So we will have had I don't say experience, because then you're into inspiration, but we will have at least been able to say, I know of that.
Yeah.
And what happened as a result of that, therefore I saw the catalytic end of it. It is no more.
Do you even think we'll be thinking that? I mean, I think it's just going to be
I think it'll
gone.
be there.
Really?
I think it'll just be, I think it isn't something that we'll sit around and conjure and contemplate. I think that it's going to be ingrained into us in such a point that it's not even, it won't be something we talk about. We just know. I know that 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 I know. You know, does that make sense?
Yeah.
So in other words, we're going to have the knowledge that God has, but at a certain level.
Yeah,
So-
we ain't
so
gonna go
that's
full,
right,
you know,
right.
tank will never be
No,
full.
Right. No, and I can understand why.
Yeah. Well, we've got 12 minutes left already. All right, let's kick around Benedict Spinoza. From 1632.
Did I miss something?
What? Oh, I said there was two tonight.
Yeah.
I said there was two. I said imperfect. Okay, second, whatever is necessary to the essence of a thing cannot be absent from that thing. Whatever is necessary, whatever is necessary to the very essence of a thing cannot be absent from that thing. For example, a square must have four sides. If we don't have four sides, it's not a square. If it's got three sides, it's a U or a triangle or something of that nature. You see what I mean? His idea is simple in that its premise is that something necessarily exists. We know that. Something necessarily exists. We're sitting here. And without its existence, nothing would exist. Back to the end cause. We know something caused all of this to be. You can try and say it was a Big Bang if you want to. But I go right back to, like I said before, that's an awful lot of mass of material that came from nothing. It just happened to be.
I don't fit.
No, it just don't play. So we know that something existed prior to everything that we know of existed. Who caused everything to come into existence? Well, if there is an absolute and total void, that which is not caused to exist, then how can you get something to exist? How do I mean to explain this? Okay. If there is nothing, absolutely, totally nothing, then nothing will ever come about. But if there is nothing, yet there is God, then what does he use as his lab, because nothing exists, to create everything that exists now? There's only one thing possible. In the beginning was the Word, who spoke, and all came into existence.
So
Because nothing existed.
so there was something in the beginning with God, which was the
The
Word,
Word, which is part of
part
it.
of the existence.
Now you see why I had you memorize the prologue?
Well, it all existed in his mind, right?
But he is mine. I believe he is total mine.
Yeah. But he had to have it there in order to breathe it into existence.
Right.
Right.
But
So-
if we're
so that
created
did-
in his image, well, how are we?
So that
What he really
existed
is
with
pure
him.
mind.
You know,
That's
why
funny.
we have our mind.
Bingo.
That's
So it's
funny.
not this carcass that's created in the image of God. It's not this
Mind.
brain that's created in the
It's
image
the
of God.
mind.
It's the mind.
It's
It's
the
my mind.
mind.
Well, see,
And
now,
that
I
w-
was understanding that the image of God was our spirit, since God is spirit.
I have not been able to separate